Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and to this time-lapse version of a beautiful blue-eyed cat in soft pastel. I hope that you enjoy this speedy version here. Full demo coming very soon over on Patreon if you're interested in working along with me. But if you enjoy this here, then please do hit subscribe here on YouTube and also check out all of my other playlists here. Lots of free videos here on YouTube. This piece is just 8 by 7 inches, so pretty small. And I'm working on pastel matte paper. It's a lovely warm yellow tone. I'm using a warm tone just to try and inject a bit of warmth into all of the cooler grey tones I'm likely to use in this. The cat itself is in the shade a little bit, and then we've got this lovely bright sky behind her. I wanted to keep the background very simple and just try and create a bit of wispy cloud cover. So in the full demo, I'll talk about techniques for doing that and talk you right through that process. But pretty soon I'm on to the gorgeous cat. I really love painting backgrounds, but sometimes it is a bit of a treat to get a very simple bit of background and get on to the animal quite quickly. So I start to work up around the top edge of the cat's ears. While I've got plenty of places that I can lean or anchor my hand, it's nice to work those top edges. And the edges are something that I'll talk about a lot in this tutorial. Color choices and working all of the little feathery edges, two really important things. So I'm just focusing on that top section of her head to begin with, and I take quite a long time on this area because I'm also kind of figuring out what colors to use. So you can see the type of coat that she has. It's one of those beautiful kind of multicolored cats. There's a little hint of the tabby stripe or pattern on her head, but it's more with beautiful cream colors and brown tones. And this color of cat often has big, beautiful blue eyes as well. So as you'll see a bit later, I do try to lighten the eyes and add a bit more detail in there than I could see in the photo. But overall, I'm really trying to look hard at the colors I'm actually seeing. So there won't actually be any pure white in the cat. It's all going to be really subtle light tints and then quite colourful mid-tone colours as well. So lots of purples, blue violets, but then some warm tones, some warm light brown earth tones. We've got some sort of fleshy pinks or brown earths. And a lot of the colours that I use within this face are quite neutral or in between sort of colours. And I talk a lot about those colours throughout this piece. As I usually find when I'm painting a cat, they are quite tricky to get a good likeness. Now, it was my aim to try and capture little Minnie as best as I could and really capture her character. But as quite often happens with cats, you can spend a long time just trying to get their expression right. Such a variety in their shape of eye and a variety in personality as well. So quite often there's a bit of attitude that comes with the cat's expression, and I really love to capture that, but it can be tricky. So I spend a long time on this one, just working on the details on the face. For me, what is around the eyes is just as important as the eyeballs themselves. So I spend a long time kind of sculpting the structure of her little face from the soft pastel. But then it is nice to get a couple of eyes in and see some life come into the portrait. Another thing I'll mention with this little piece was how small I worked. I've painted a few cat demos in the last year or two. Some of them were small as well, but some of them were of little kittens. With a fully grown or an adult cat, they've got so much extra hair and detail on their faces. And I think I kind of forgot that because this definitely felt just a little bit too small for comfort. So if you're working along with me on Patreon on this one, I would highly recommend making it just even an inch or two bigger just to give yourself a bit more space on all of the details on her face. So the smaller you go, sometimes the more difficult it is to be able to use the big sticks a lot because of course they're quite blunt items, although as I'll show you throughout this whole process, I'm making use of little shards of pastel. I'm breaking the odd pastel to find sharp edges. But there's also quite a lot of pastel pencil in this piece, and I was really able to use them as the tools to kind of make small adjustments, make all those minor little tweaks, and to go back through the fur and add more and more texture. So, two beautiful blue eyes emerging now. I decided to work on down the rest of the body because often that's nice to do before adding the chin or the jawline. So I like to work what's underneath first, what sits behind first. So I'm constantly comparing colours and tonal values. So the bottom of the chin needs to be darker than the chest hair just behind. And that's what's informing my decision about what colour to use on the chin. It's often a bit darker than you think. So just going back through the fur, adding more and more texture and getting gradually lighter as well. So working my way up towards the brightest highlights. But I'm finally ready to work on around the face and down this other side of the body. It's good to get that top left section done while I have somewhere to lean my hand. But it's also nice to now work on a bit and get what's remaining of the blank paper blocked in. So I'll be honest, this was tricky. I found this really quite tricky to choose the colours especially. I picked up a palette of colours at the beginning that I thought I would use, and they were mostly right, but I did pick up a few extras that I needed along the way. And I feel like I worked quite slowly on this one just because I was really questioning my colour choices all the way through. And that's something that I'll talk a lot about throughout the real-time tutorials coming from this. So if you would like to paint along and learn more about painting this type of cat, do come and check me out over on Patreon. I've got lots of cat tutorials there, both domestic and wild. And even if you just like my work and would like to follow it, It's possible now to become a free member on Patreon, and you can literally just follow my posts and my updates. There are different memberships then available if you'd like to access different parts of the library, different tutorials. But even if you just like my work and want to follow me somewhere other than social media, it's quite a nice option there, as you get lots of progress posts and things like this on my Patreon too. So I'll add links in the description below and at the end of the video. As many of you know, I had my Instagram account hacked and pretty much deleted, and I don't really have many hopes of getting that back. So I'm keen to just make sure that I have ways to stay in contact with you guys if one channel should disappear, as can happen. So we're coming to the end now. This side of the face can have a little bit less detail because a lot of this area is going to be almost covered in whiskers. And the whiskers were tricky to add as well. Nice sharp pastel pencils, a light grey for the darker whiskers on the left, and then a white general's pencil there being used for the white whiskers. I hope that you enjoyed seeing this come together though. Little Minnie was a joy to work on, and I hope that you'll come and check out her full tutorial over on Patreon. But thanks for watching, and until next time, happy pasteling.